In 1857, two German men broke away from their wagon train and discovered a fascinating red lava ledge in a place they called the Burnt Country, filled with what looked like pure gold. However, only one of them would walk away with 10 pounds of the ore along with a map to its location. He was then forced into a corner to make a deal with a man to save his life and reveal the location of what is now known as the Lost Cement Mine. Throughout history, there's a plethora of legends of lost gold, valuable loot, and mines full of opportunities to strike it rich, but this is a first for me. I've never heard of a ledge said to be cemented with red lava and gold, so let's get into how these men stumbled upon this incredible find, why only one of them walked away, and why he had to barter with a doctor to save his life. So when it comes to the names of these two men, it's an absolute mystery that we truly have no idea about. I'm sure there could be some research that could be done, but for the sake of just making the video, I'm going to call them Hans and Fietz. Just kidding. No, we're going to call them Glabenschloss and Schatzgräber, just so we can easily understand who we're talking about. Also, these aren't names, they're words, and they mean something. Comment down below if you know what they are. So Glabenschloss and Schatzgräber were on a wagon train to California. A wagon train was just a group of wagons that traveled together, and they were typically pulled by horses or oxen. They would be organized by settlers who would meet in the early times of spring at towns where they would elect officers and guides. Back in the day, it was the primary form of transportation for not only moving goods an extremely long distance, but also people, and on this wagon train were Glabenschloss and Schatzgräber. Well, somewhere along the way, Glabenschloss and Schatzgräber decided they wanted to get off of their wagon train and left everyone else essentially saying, hey, nothing against you guys, but we just want to make it our own way. And they left the group while they were in the eastern part of California. There's no information on whether or not they had horses, but I'm assuming they didn't, which makes this story seem a little off. You know, why would two men get off of a wagon train bound for California in the middle of what I'm assuming was a foreign land? But anyway, they got off and made their own way, and as they were walking, the two men made it up to the Mono Lake region of Central California. And when they had gotten there, one of the men would call this place the Burnt Country, which if you look at it, it's not hard to understand why. If you look at these rock formations, it almost seems as though they were covered in ash to a certain degree. And it was here that they made an incredible discovery. There was a red lava ledge filled with what appeared to be lumps of gold that were basically cemented together. This is actually where it gets the name, the Lost Cement Mine, because the gold and red lava rock looked as though it was sort of glued together, so to speak. So Glabenschloss and Schatzgräber looked at this ledge in awe and amazement because it really looked like gold, or because it was gold. They were split as to what they both actually believed. Glabenschloss believed this wasn't actually gold but only looked like it, and was potentially fool's gold or just a yellowish rock, but Schatzgräber was much more optimistic and felt so strongly that it truly was gold that he started hammering out chunks and chunks of this gold-looking material. And as you can guess, Glabenschloss laughed at his buddy mining out essentially what he thought was worthless stone and didn't even bother to take any for himself, just in case it actually was. So the two men left this area with Schatzgräber attempting to draw a map back to where they had found this potential gold, and as they made their way further west, unfortunately, Glabenschloss didn't survive and died before they reached civilization. Now, because it was only Schatzgräber, he had to drop some of his supposed gold ore and carry more of what his friend was carrying just to survive the trek out of the wilderness. And since we're here talking about these two guys, obviously he made it out of there. He followed the San Joaquin River to the mining camp of Millerton, California. So he gets to this town, and somewhere along the way, maybe it was on the wagon train or perhaps from his friend or even someone at the camp, but he ends up contracting tuberculosis and was diagnosed and cared for by a man known as Dr. Randall. As he talked with the doctor about his condition, he was told that it was terminal, and because he was just a German traveler, he didn't really have any money that he could pay the man with to take care of him until he eventually died. So he does the only thing he can think of, and what I feel like is one of the most difficult situations. And real quick, I just want to paint a picture of what Schatzgräber had gone through. He was a German immigrant who probably came here with his buddy to make a better life for himself, probably had family back home that would never know what happened to him, no loved ones around him, and his only friend died. He heroically made his march out of the wilderness and managed to find a camp, only to be told that he was going to die because he had tuberculosis. So with all he has left, he tells the doctor he'll give him a map to a place he had traveled through to find more of something like this, and he pulls out the little bit of gold ore he has left, and sure enough, it really was gold. So the doctor agreed, and he was given a detailed description as to where he and his friend walked through and where it was. And sadly, and of course, Schatzgraber passed away later on, leaving Dr. Randall with a map and instructions to find an incredible source of pure gold. Now, this all started in 1857, and by the time Schatzgraber and Glaubenschloss had gone through their final stages in life and Dr. Randall was ready to go out, it was 1861. So Dr. Randall told some of his friends about this incredible journey and enlisted the help of some others to go out to find the cement mine. They left and made it to Montville in the spring in 1861, where they began prospecting in a section of land called the Pumice Flats. The only problem was that the more moving parts a machine has, the more opportunity for idiocy there is, which is sort of what happened. Someone along the way had told of their endeavor to find the gold, and others had also gone out in search of it. Now, there is a version of this story that tells of 2 of Dr. Randall's men that managed to find the gold and mined thousands of dollars worth from the ledge. But remember, this was happening in 1861, and during this time, the Owens Valley Indian War had began that same year, making it extremely dangerous to be out in the area. So they may have found it and died because of an attack, or perhaps they never found it at all. Now, officially speaking, the Lost Cement Mine is as its name entails and is still lost today, but it makes me wonder, how long until a random passerby stumbles upon this massive gold deposit and carves out a chunk for him or herself? That right there is the real mystery, and where mystery lies, adventure awaits. If you like what I do and you want to help support the channel, then the best way to do that is by joining the community on Patreon. I post my scripts and videos early, and I've even done a few videos that you can only find on Patreon. But if you're not into that, then just check out this video that YouTube seems to think you'll love, and I'll see you there.